Hi, I want to introduce you to Lyndon, the cat I'm house sitting for. I captured him so that I could show him to you. Look, there's the camera. Whee! He's really cute. Um, okay, you can go. He likes pretending he's hunting. It actually really freaked me out for the first day. I had to call one of my friends who is experienced with cats and dogs and animals in general, and kind of isolate myself so that I wasn't freaking out. Um, Not that I was actually scared, but just like have so little experience with animals because I've never had pets of my own that or like large pets of my own that I really had to like figure out how to interact with this thing that can't talk because I so rely on verbal communication. So that was it's been a few days now. I'm house sitting in Brooklyn, so I'm no longer staying at my mom's cousin's place in Washington Heights. So it's been a change, but it's been a few days now, and me and Lyndon are getting along pretty well. I think he likes pretending that my hand is something that he can stalk, or like as a predator. So it makes for an interesting experience. But I really like him, and I like coming home and having a cat here. And it's funny because I find myself talking out loud to it, um, even though like clearly it can't hear me, like no one's listening, and yet I still enjoy like verbalizing what I'm thinking. Very interesting. Okay. It's been a while since I've updated you, and I don't really feel like I have a lot to update you on, even though I'm sure this video will end up being long anyway. But it's interesting for me because uh, so I've really been working a lot because there were a few some of my days off in the past 2 weeks or whatever. They asked me to come into work, and usually I say yeah because it's like, oh, why not? Because I really do enjoy the people I work with, and they make the experience really worthwhile for me. So then I'll come in, but I think I've been like losing a part of, I don't have a lot to reflect back on this week that I've done like in the city, and so I really have to um, train myself to like say no when they ask for extra help. It's also interesting. I had the realization last night that I think this is the first time in my life where I really have to go out of my way to make sure that what I want is what I'm involved in. Whereas I think that growing up, it was very much, and even in college, like I would just land in these situations with people I loved and things I loved doing, and there would be like work to get there, but um, on a weekend night, I could just be like, well, I'll just go do what everyone else is doing, or things like that, or even like on a weekend, or in looking for jobs or things like that. It was uh, my whole world was what I wanted. Whereas now there are like a lot of things in New York that I don't want to do, or that I have to go more out of my way to pursue what I want, which means even figuring out what I want. And it's interesting because I have talked about before like wanting to learn languages, and I'm really interested in it and I'm good at it, and yet I find I never pick up a workbook. Like I bought these workbooks and I haven't yet sat down with them, and it's like, okay, Cynthia, like if you want to do it, you have to make the time. And it feels the same. It's like if you want a social world now, you have to make the time. I can't just like keep saying yes to whatever comes up, because right now it's been saying yes to working extra shifts, and then I just find myself working all the time, and then I'm gonna get burnt out. Whereas I think in the past I could say yes to whatever was offered, and the offers were they were always good things. So that's really interesting, and I'm I think it's gonna be really good for me because this is more of how a lot of the world works. Not everywhere, but I think I'm gonna learn a lot or mature a lot as a person, which I say that all the time. I think I'm gonna grow through this. So that's basically what this like year and change is. Um, So another thing that I haven't talked about a lot, I think, to you is riding the subways, which have become by far one of my favorite things to do. Which is funny because I think most people it's like a daily commute or a hassle. Um, but I often find myself sitting on the subway and like my stop for work or for home is coming up, and I'm like, oh man, like I wish I could just sit here for another like 20 minutes or half hour because I find it really relaxing. Like there's something about being on public transportation for me that is um it's like because I know I'm moving, my brain can just relax because it doesn't have to be productive because I'm still being productive by sitting there. And I've always felt that way about car trips and whatever. But riding the subway is the additional really cool thing of having all these people around who I just get to watch and think about and look at, which sounds creepy, and I try not to be creepy. But there's so many interesting people around, and even just like when I'm reading or like listening to music, just being in the company of all these people is a really comforting thing for me. Um, so yeah, that's been really cool. It's interesting to learn how the subway transfer system works. Like where you can transfer to which trains and like when they do construction, figuring out like if you have to take alternate routes, which like one time made me really late for work. Things like that that like I felt pretty bad. Yeah. I'm trying to think of I've noticed in the past few weeks a few interesting things that New York does differently than California at least. Um, One of the things I like in the subway system, in the machine where you put money on a card, it says dip your credit card to like stick in and out, and I really like that phrasing, like dip your credit card. Cars on the street, on busy streets, cars park outside of the bike lane, which um, I don't know if that's usual or not, but I notice it. Oh, another interesting thing is that people ride the subways. It's really common for people to have shopping carts that fold up that they own, which until moving here, I really fully associated with homeless people. Um, but here, the stores are like many, like the closest Trader Joe's to the place I was staying at before was like it was on like 72nd Street and I was on 181st. So it was far. And there were other more like local grocery stores around the area, but people like take their stuff onto the subway to bring it home. Or really commonly, people have groceries delivered to their house. They're like a lot of the subway advertisements are for grocery store delivery companies where you like order it online and it gets if you order more than a certain amount you get free shipping, so you're just kind of paying a little bit more probably for the food. But it's interesting because it makes sense because New York people don't most people don't have or need cars, and then like how do you get a lot of groceries home? Also, I know a lot of people who are my age here who I've just talked to or met who don't have driver's licenses yet, and it makes sense. That's so That's pretty crazy. The taxes, I think, are a lot higher here, or not. I don't know. I'm not really clear on how they work, but like they work on you're taxed on the product's initial cost. So like when I got this cell phone, I got it for like $100 because I had a plan, but I was taxed on what it would be without any of that, which without going through the company or anything, the phone itself would be 650. So I was taxed on 650. So apparently there's a thing called tax-free weekend, which is like back to school area where people try to buy like fridges or like like trucks or things because there aren't tax. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I've heard. Um, One of the biggest things is the summer rain that I'm sure I've mentioned before, and one of the biggest things that's different, and it's really growing on me. It's really cool to walk around and like have it be raining and me be wearing a t-shirt, and like drizzling or pouring for like 5 minutes and stopping. Yeah. Um, I think those are the only things I that are coming to mind that are like markedly different here. So I wanted to give you an update to let you know that I'm uh, alive and enjoying myself. And it hasn't been as like bubbly or as like exciting in the last few weeks, but or last 2 weeks or whatever, but it's still really valuable. Like all of it's really valuable. I'm starting the house hunt. I'm gonna see more family soon, and I'll keep you all updated on it. And I hope that your Augusts are going really well so far. Okay, bye.